That music sure made me feel better. And we're going to feel all right. Yes, I am Reverend Sharon Dunn. I'm the senior minister here at the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. When we have Nims here today, so good to see you. We haven't seen you in a while. This is wonderful. And let's give our band some love too. My goodness. I am so happy to be upright taking nourishment. You can't know. This is medicine to my soul. Thank you so much for being here with me. So, I am going to introduce our practitioner of the day, which is Margie Lidfeld. And she is an amazing consciousness in our community. Margie is, if I think about Margie, I think of her as prayerful. And you know, not every practitioner do I think of in the same way. You know, each practitioner is different. Margie is the epitome of prayerfulness and kindness and grace. And so I think we're pretty lucky to have her. And she's going to take us into prayer. So Margie, please.
Thank you. Oh, good morning, everybody. Hey, I invite you to close your eyes and take a nice breath deep and go within to that sacred place of the Most High. And letting everything go, the rush of the morning, the rush of the weekend. And knowing that there is a divine presence that I call God, that is right here, always here. This presence was always before and will always be after, never leaving us, always here, sacred, safe, loving. And I know this message of authenticity today, cultivating this beautiful authenticity that we all have and we bring forward. I know that Reverend Sharon gives us a great message for this today. And so we bless our service, our music, everything that we're grateful for today. And we together we say, and so it is. Namaste. Okay. And now we have our readings. The greatest battle we face as human beings is the battle to protect our true selves from the self the world wants us to become. E. Cummings. Because true belongings only happens when we present our authentic and perfect selves to the world. Our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. Brene Brown, Daring Greatly. Let me see. Okay. All right. For no one lights a lamp to set it under a bushel or to put it in a hidden place, but he sets it on a lampstand that all who go in and come out may see its light. Jesus from the Gospel of Thomas. And now, it's my pleasure to have Susan, Casper, and Linda listen, and Cookie and Ruth sing this chant, Brahma Dasa Sa Se So Hum. Please enjoy our wonderful One Love Band. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Audience participation, and I'll give you a cue. Time. It's in the key of G, which is connected to the throat chakra. So we're living out loud this month, so you can sing with us.
feels so good with our music. I didn't realize I needed the medicine. I should have called you all. It was beautiful. So, good morning. I am again Reverend Sharon Dunn, your senior minister, and we are with March theme of cultivating authenticity. And we are with the annual theme of living out loud. And I really like this idea. Our light is to be revealed, not concealed. Our light is to be revealed, not concealed. And so I'm wondering, I've been talking about, for 3 months now, I've been talking about living out loud. I just wonder if anyone's listening. You know, for the last couple of weeks, I've been talking about authenticity. I know, right? It's like, why am I here? And so I have a question right out the gate. Has any of this, living out loud, cultivating authenticity, has anyone had any revelation, anything different in their lives, anything that has been revealed with these themes? Has anyone had an experience about living out loud or authenticity that you could possibly share? I'm just wondering, is anyone listening? There's one! Carol Marr. Hang on, we have a mic runner.
Who?
She's right here.
It's something I've been kind of percolating on in the last 2 or 3 months is, as a therapist for 20 years, I've realized recently, because I'm actually going to retire officially in 1st of August, anyway, that for these 20 years, my job is to be quiet and listen and question and things like that. But what's come to me is that I'm kind of, my authentic self gets submerged, okay? And of course, it's not my place in therapy to talk to people. So, and so that's been percolating, but then with this topic, and your words last week, self-actualization, I've really been focusing on who I am and what I need to let out more than I have been doing in the last.
Okay, I'm going to come back next week then. Someone is actually, anyone else have something happen, hi man.
Hi.
It's good to see you. Hold it nice and close there.
Okay. You try to live out authenticity. I work in a hospital. So what I found is, even though you have like a spiritual care, you are really spiritual, but if they have any physical issue, so they can block you to get in seeking for spiritual. And I have so many experience with patients. For example, and a young lady come in to hospital multiple times, nausea, vomiting. But that was not really her problem with her stomach. It's something his emotional problem. So right now I'm offer my service in the community. I want to connect the dot from your physical body to the spiritual.
Yes.
That's what I see that missing. You know, in the hospital, even we have a chaplain, we have a priest, Catholic priest. You know, they can come to give you the communion or give you a prayer. But if the man is in pain and if he may need something, a medication or even not medication, oil, some kind of essential oil can help, but the pain medicine don't work. So what happened? But the hospital don't have those service. So I try to get a service in hospital, but I could not get into that. I see my patient suffering.
Yeah.
So I want to do something and start with the community.
That's wonderful.
I have my flyers and my
Okay.
name card. Yeah, so we can talk about sometimes maybe a little bit thing can block you for you
Absolutely.
to search your spiritual.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to make that connection.
The mind-body connection.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And anyone else have any change at all, or anything? Does anyone remember anything about the ideas of living authentically? I think, Ruth, do you have the mic?
Yeah, last week it was really kind of a revelation when you were talking about that authenticity is not what we think it is on, I have to live my authentic self. It really kind of hit home when you said that you're authentic all the time. It's an ever-changing thing that's happened, and that every day living authentically is your journey, and that you do the best you can to live your authentic self. I know my
journey.
Your journey?
Your journey.
My journey? Yeah, I live my journey, my authentic self. Thank you for reminding me that. Yes, it's true. And that every day is getting towards that authentic self, and I feel like that was kind of a aha moment.
That's wonderful. Well, today the topic is actually something about masks, and of course, I had to change that, and so I wanted to go beyond masks. We've talked about masks before. I want to dive into the whole armor. We've got the mask, we've got the shield, we've got the armor. And I want you to be thinking about how much you are armored up while we're talking today. I know, right? How much and so I'm gonna look at it three ways. One, the shield, the armor, and the intimacy. And when I say intimacy, I say into me see. That's what intimacy is. Is that into me see. You see me, you let me see you. So that doesn't always happen when we're armored up, correct? And it doesn't always happen when we have a mask on. And it doesn't happen when we have our shields up. And I always like to do a disclaimer every time I speak. I like to say there's nothing wrong here. There's nothing to fix. You are perfect, complete, and whole right here and right now. It's not about looking at anything as if we have a problem. What this is spiritual evolution. This is about every time we're together, we get to explore that part of us that can shine brighter, right? Our light is to be revealed, not concealed. I like this part too. It's exhausting to be what we are not. Exhausting. I just want you to know that has an energy. That I think of my husband, power engineer. This guy is always lighting up something. My life mostly. But it's a lot about energy. It's a lot about light is about energy, and it's exhausting to be what we are not. And that, by being what we are not, will burn our light out. And yeah, I want to be thinking about that. So the shield, I tell the story about my sister and I. So my mother had Huntington's disease, as you know. And so she, don't look at her as my mother. Look, I like that people first language. My mother had the experience of Huntington's disease. And so when I speak of these kind of horrific experiences with my mother, it's not my mother, but rather the disease that I had the difficulty with. And when you have a disease of the brain like that, in that particular disease that atrophies the caudate nucleus, that's your impulse control center. And so people with Huntington's, it's a fatal disease. It killed many of my family members. It's genetic. But what happened is, my sister and I learned to have our shields up. My sister would say, "Is your shield up?" And I would put my shield down. And when I would put my shield down around my mother at the wrong time, I would get bit or scratched or hit or something. if she could reach me, because she was bedridden, so if she could reach me, you know, and I had my shields down, I would literally get injured. And my sister would get very angry with me. Why did you have your shields down, she would ask. And I had to ponder that. You know, I had to ponder, why did I put my shields down and allow myself to be vulnerable? And remember, vulnerable, defined, is open to attack. Vulnerable is not squishy-ishy, you know, I'm all about being vulnerable, but rather it is letting our shields down. And so I had to think about that a long time, and I realized that in my mind, I had hope that the situation could be different. And so I would put my shields down and I would try to see if it could be different. If she would, yes, absolutely, just take me up in her arms and hug me and love me. And I finally had to learn that there are times when we put ourselves in danger by having our shields down. And that's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about being armored up or having a mask or having our armor up as in protecting ourselves from danger. We have to do that. We are vulnerable human beings. And so we're not talking about that, are we? We're talking about our authentic self, and that we can actually armor up so that our authentic self is not shown to the world. That we are not experiencing our authentic self. We are not living out loud. And we are not living our bliss. That's different. You see the difference? We're not talking about letting our defenses down and getting hurt. And how many of you have done that? You know, how about time and time again in the same situation, expecting different results? Isn't that the definition of
insanity?
There it is. Yeah, so we know better than that. We're talking about cultivating authenticity, about releasing those patterns of thought, attitudes, and actions that act as barriers to us standing in our personal truth and power. That's different. And I truly believe that if we pattern ourselves to be defensive, if we pattern ourselves to be armored up, I think we can fall right into that quite easily when it comes to being our authentic self. You know, this month is a perfect opportunity to have those difficult conversations that we want to have in order to let go of that thing that's hanging on because we're not resolving that thing that's important to us. Now, I'm not talking about going in there and blasting our truth. Truth without love is brutality. We know that. And I've done that in the past, as you know. I'm talking about really contemplating and reflecting first. What is it? What is truth for me? What is going on here that it is unsettling? Didn't we do that this morning, Larry? I was talking to Larry and I was saying, you know, our house is on the market and we put our house on the market in the worst storms in California. No one is coming to see our house. And so I don't trust anything. This isn't the way I wanted it to be. And my realtor is my daughter. And I'm controlling everything. We should do an open house this weekend. Oh, look at the weather. We're going to have an hour of sunshine between 1 and 4. Let's do it then. And I finally told Larry, I think we should talk to her. We should have that difficult conversation. Or get a new realtor. So we had the conversation. We called her up. We put it on speaker. I said to myself, I need a realtor that's just going to be blowing happy bubbles around me. I need a cheerleader. I need somebody who's excited and tells me it's gonna sell and she said the most enlightening thing to me this morning. She said, as soon as you listed the house and I advised you how we should go about this, you said no, you had your own plan. You had your own way of doing it. And so I said, okay, we'll do it your way. And of course it hasn't sold. And of course it isn't, there's no action. And I realized, sometimes we have to trust the experts. Sometimes we have to let go and let God. Sometimes we have to show up in our relationships and trust the person we're in a relationship with. Oh my God. It's so painful. So painful. But you see, that's armor, isn't it? That's a defense. That's my shields. That's my mask. My mask is that, no one's going to take care of me, and this isn't going to happen, and it's not going to happen the way I want it to happen, and so I'm going to be the realtor. Now, mind you, I don't have a realtor license. I have a minister's license, and I should know better. My point is, where in your life do you give authority to people you can trust and then grab it back? Anybody? Thank you. I'm so glad I'm not alone here. Practicing vulnerability and authenticity is a courageous journey. I love this new song by Pink. I don't know if you like Pink. I love Pink. Because Pink, not only does she hang from the rafters and I love to watch her, she's so amazing. I'm like, I can do that. Whatever. But she writes music that is so passionate. I don't know if you've noticed that. Her passion in her music. And she has a new song called Trust Fall. Oh, please, no, not a trust fall. But that is what this is about, this living out loud, this cultivating authenticity, this dropping our armor, which is our topic for today, is a trust fall. I have to really honor Larry. What a job this man has to take care of me. Love to a woman is being taken care of. Love to a man is unconditional acceptance. We're not even in the same ballpark here. I want to take care of him. I don't want to accept him, for God's sakes. And he doesn't need to take care of me. I can take care of myself. Can you imagine where I am in this? I'm learning, and I'm perfect, complete, and whole, right where I am. And again, there's a difference between armoring up to be safe, to be protected, and armoring up to hide. I'm into the hide. And at the same time, that's not the truth. That I come here every week with high hopes of being the example of living out loud. I don't want anything else in my life. I want to live out loud. Period. I want to live out loud. I want to live an authentic life. I want to do it with grace and compassion. I want to speak my truth with love. And also, I want to be someone, and I've said this before here, I want to be someone who feels like a safe harbor. Who feels like you don't have to be armored up to be with me. Now, what is the scariest thing in relationship when we're talking about being armored up? You know, when we're talking about letting our shield down and coming to that person and sharing what the feel is, right? What is the scariest thing that can happen? Oh, well, aside from weapons, but we're not talking like that, right?
Rejection.
Reaction. Way before rejection. Way before rejection. What if that person reacts and I have to then take on that reaction and I'm not equipped? And then I start to take that reaction on with all my filters, with all my primary family issues, with all the past. Armoring up keeps us connected to the past. Armoring up keeps us anchored in the past. We are not living in the present. We are living from what we know, from what's already happened. And so what happens in a relationship is that you walk in and you share yourself and the person reacts and you get shut down. I learned in therapy, in ministerial school, we had to, again, deal with our issues or we were going to hold you all hostage to our issues, right? So we had to get it done in school, in seminary. And my therapist, I saw practitioners and I saw therapists because I had to learn how to stay present in a conversation where the other person's reaction was too much for me. I had to stay in my body because what I would do is disassociate. I could disassociate like nobody's business. Talk about armor and shields and masks, that's home. You know, I do very well there. I used to. Not so much. Not so much. I'm pretty happy out and proud. I'm pretty happy being my authentic self. But I want to be that person that somehow, and I haven't got there yet, somehow can put the vibe out, right? Can put the vibe out that you can say, I'm uncomfortable. Just those two words. My therapist said, stay in your body and just say, I'm uncomfortable. And what happens is it diffuses everything. Suddenly, it's almost like the shields can come down and it's safe because you're standing in your power, in your authenticity, and you're saying, you know, I'm uncomfortable here. And the person, if they continue to react in a violent way, you're done. Shields up, you're done. You gave your best. But if you leave before the miracle happens, or if you don't even venture in at all, what do you lose? You know, you lose the opportunity to go deeper. What is that? That is intimacy. Intimacy. We say, I'm uncomfortable. And the other person hopefully will say, what do you need? The other person can say, let's pray together. The other person can say, I want you to feel comfortable. What must I do? What can I do? This is so simple. And yet, is there anyone here in the room that just would rather armor up? Anybody have that feeling like, no. I just rather armor up. And how does that feel when you don't get the goods of the relationship? You don't get the intimacy. So it is the nature of life to fully express itself, and every living being has this impulse because of life operating through it. This is Ernest Holmes. The only way spirit expresses itself is through us. And if we're armored up, God's got no way. God's got no way to express itself as us. It says, and like nature, when it stirs and wakes itself from winter, reaching out to express itself through new growth and its glory to be seen, each one of us has the desire to be seen and know as we are. This is truth. If we, I kind of can't wait to, I know we need rain. So glad it's raining. So happy it's raining. Hallelujah, it's raining. I have been having fantasies of a little umbrella drink, sitting in the sun in some tropical land. But spring is coming. This is who we are. We are to bloom. We are to be this life-givingness. Our biggest risk is their reaction. Does this, anybody like feeling anything, have anything to say at this point? Any comments yet? Any like, oh my God, that happened to me. I can't believe that. Okay. So it takes a toll on us when we are working on being to others what we are not. Remember that. This takes a toll on us. Yet we hide because at some level we believe that on our own, our thoughts, opinions, or feelings are not acceptable. Our thoughts and our feelings and our opinions are not acceptable. How about not important? I'd rather not stir it up. That's a good one. I'd rather not. Gosh, what will that do? That'll blow the whole thing up. Because remember, our biggest risk is reaction. You know, and even if someone reacts, you could actually say, I see that this is stirring something up. Can we be with that for a while and come back to this conversation? Can we explore our reaction, our emotion, nothing wrong here, and then come back when we have a feeling that we can talk about. You know, we go from that reaction to emotion to feeling. And when we get to that feeling, we don't want it to be the emotion, do we? The emotion is our instinct. They're great. We love them. Emotions are great. Kind of like cornflakes. But they're not the boss of us. What happens with an emotion is we look at it, we come up with a feeling, we identify it, we give it a name. It gets a story, doesn't it? It gets a story. And then if we like the story, it becomes a belief. Right? And so if you're in that reactivity, you can literally, say, okay, let's be with that and come back to this. Have you ever been in that situation where I wish I could do that. In the moment, more. I'm getting better at that. You know why? Because I want it. I want to live authentically. I want to live out loud. And I want to be a safe harbor all at the same time. That's a lot. That's a lot. Because that means that I have to, thinking about the Maslow's pyramid, hierarchy, pyramid of needs, self-actualization happens way at the top. When we get all our needs met, then we get up there and we can actually think about self-actualization. So this is a lifelong process for us, and I want it. You know, I want self-actualization. I want to be kind in the world. If I'm upset and it's not my stuff, I want to give it back. You know, I want to say, no, let me give this back to you in love because it's not mine. Have you ever taken on something that's not yours just because it's easier?
Sure.
Really? Good. I'm glad I'm not alone again.
And I don't have to look at my stuff.
And I don't have to look at my stuff, Debbie said. That's a mask, wouldn't you say? Because if we think about armor, we think about whole body, whole mind. When Nan was talking about the mind-body connection, you know, that's when we're armored up, right? When we just don't want to, you can't make me, you know, I don't want to have to, you know, that's a mask. And boy, is that, that's very complicated. When I mask up, it's skillful. It's very skillful. So let's finish up here with talking about some ways to think about this week. You know, what would happen if you began to be courageously vulnerable? Now, pick something. Is there anything in your life that you would just love to change into a different experience? Yes? Raise your hand if it... Really? You didn't keep it up very long. I just... Raise your hand. Like, okay, good. Okay. Oh, more hands are going up. Okay, I want you to be thinking about that one thing because you're going to be tested next week. I want you to think about, you would begin to show up differently because you are allowing some of those hidden parts to be seen. You'd be showing up differently. So you ready for that? Even if it feels awkward, show that you care. You may not want to, but ask for help. And we talked last week about what a practitioner does, didn't we? You wish you knew what they were thinking, so be the first one to open up. Yikes! Be the first one to open up. That should be a t-shirt. It's okay if you're not good at it, do it anyway. No one starts as an expert. Feel your feelings, all of them. Feel them deeply. And you don't have to explain them. Assume others are trustworthy until proven otherwise. Boy, that's a big one for me. Why couldn't I have just assumed Jessa had it? She's my realtor. Just, okay, I hire a realtor, I sign the contract, and then I take the contract and run as the realtor. Like, wouldn't it have been easier months ago if I would have just said, I have a realtor. You have a minister who really wants to be a safe harbor, who really wants to love you. Ministers have this persona that we're unapproachable. We learned this in seminary. What do I say? I love that scene. I'm just a girl standing in front of a congregation. Don't assume that I'm unapproachable. Don't assume that the person that you want to have an authentic conversation with is unapproachable. Again, courage. Boundaries. Set boundaries. And that's where shields come in. understand your boundaries, have your shield, and don't let your shield down because you wish your boundary was different. And this is where we feel vulnerable. How others will react is out of control, is out of our control. What do they say? Your opinion of me is none of my business. Your reaction to me is not in my control. But if you're having difficulty with the reaction of someone, you can bring it to light. You don't have to get any further in the exchange. All you have to do is say, I sense we've reached a plateau of emotion. Let's get back to this. Let's be with this and come back and come together when we've explored our emotions and decided on how we feel, what we believe. And why am I even talking about all this? Why I'm talking about all this is because there's only one reason to live out loud. There's only one reason to live authentically. There's only one reason to let our armor down. And that is self-love. Do we put those together? I didn't. I'm like, I want to do that. It feels good. But I didn't understand the depth of it until I did my research and went, well, by gum, there's a good reason to be doing all this. This is an act of self-love. This means that we're not giving energy to repression. We're not repressing ourselves. We're not feeling, oppressed. And the good news is the behavioral practice or the spiritual practice is to learn how to regulate your reactions. How fun would that be? I'm working on that, actually. All right. I have a question. And my question is, what assumption have you made that it isn't safe to be vulnerable?
To be what?
Vulnerable. What assumption have you made to avoid intimacy? How about this one? I don't need it, thank you. You know how self-love is the reason, the why, and then intimacy is to have that with another human? That is then taking God's idea of itself expressed in your life fully so that you're living out loud. So where in your life, if any place at all, have you felt like, it's too risky? There's a brave one.
Well, I have a...
Wait a sec, we're going to get you a mic.
Oh, okay.
And I am so grateful for you to be so brave.
Well, recently, I still work full time. I wish I was retired, but there's a woman at work. I really consider her a friend. I actually have several women that I really like at work. Ever since I went back home, I've gotten so connected to the people I work with. It seemed like it broke down so many walls. I wasn't so fearful to speak how I felt about things, but this one lady, I work with her all day long, every day, via Zoom, and she's funny, she's fun, she's like the light in my day. And unfortunately, I got a text message about a month ago, and she, oh God, I started crying. She said, I don't know what to do. My heart is gone. Her son was murdered.
Oh, no.
And she was the funny person at work, all of a sudden was reaching out to me.
Wow.
For strength. And I was scared because I didn't know if my truth, because spiritual church. She said, I know you believe in God, and I have my beliefs that are even beyond what we speak about here. And so I was having a really hard time trying to comfort her and talk to her. And actually, the first time we actually talked on Zoom, she was bawling, and I started bawling. But I said, I told her, I said, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to help you. What can I do? And I want to help you. And she said, it's okay, just talking to me. So that was very emotional. I haven't been that emotional with somebody outside my partner. And it was just a whole new experience.
That's beautiful. That's called intimacy.
Yeah, it was profound.
Yes.
The feeling that I had, I was being intimate with somebody at work.
That's
And usually
wonderful.
people at work, you just, they're not people you get intimate with.
Right.
Yeah. A casual friend kind of.
Yes.
We work together, we wouldn't hang out otherwise kind of thing, but we become extremely close.
It's wonderful. Anybody else? Any comment on any of this today? Anything at all? Anything? Anything even makes sense? Okay. So you'll be tested next week, as I said.
I just have to say that I had a friend years ago, and she was not very nice to me and took advantage of me and all this. But I felt sorry for her because nobody liked her. So I kept friends with her, and then one day I was into religious science. I learned to cultivate authenticity. I'm still working on it. And I realized that I was not authentic then, and that I was cheating myself. And so I was putting that out there. So I'm so grateful for this philosophy, and I have a lot of peace and balance now because of it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful, Margie. Debbie.
Oh, good.
So, Reverend Sharon taught this incredible class a year ago that was based on Dr. Lissa Rankin's book on the mind-body connection. You remember the name of that book? I don't know.
Something medicine. But
Mind Over Medicine?
Mind
maybe?
Over Medicine.
And she's, it was very research-based and also very readable at the same time. But it was like, this authenticity can save or not save your life,
Yes.
your health, my health,
Yes.
my life.
Good point.
And so I just want to thank you.
And that's what Nan was talking about.
It is.
Authenticity
Exactly.
can save your life. It can create healing. And I'm not going to keep you any longer. I'm going to tell you this one thing, though, is being vulnerable will always feel vulnerable. Again, we're practicing courage. We're also choosing who we want to be vulnerable with. Don't forget that part. We're choosing it, and what I know in relationship when I decide that, I can be vulnerable is we have an agreement. I literally have an agreement that you're not going to quit on me. You're not going to quit on me no matter how I behave. And I'm going to behave as best I can. And you're staying there with me. You're going to stay in there with me. I have that agreement. That's the agreement you have to have when you're thinking about intimacy. You don't get to just, go through the line at Sam's Club and decide that you're going to be intimate with the checker. I mean, this kind of intimacy that we're talking about is the kind of intimacy that, however, that we can have in this community with each other. That's why we're here. This is where we can practice. You can literally meet somebody that you kind of, you like that person. You can literally have that agreement with that person. Hey, you want to do this? Let's do this. If I say something or if I do something that doesn't work, will you promise to tell me? Will you promise to show up for me in that way? Because you know what that builds? Trust. And guess what? That's our springboard to intimacy. Trust. Oh, and this is good. Go as fast as the slowest part of yourself. Don't rush. If you're not ready, that's okay. You know why? Because you can set an intention, because we're religious scientists. And that's how this teaching works. I have set an intention that I am a safe harbor in the world. I haven't set an intention that I'm a minister of God's work, that I'm going to show up for you. That if you're willing to tell me the truth, I may not like it. But if you agree to stay in there with me, I'm going to love you like no other. Isn't that wonderful? I'm going to love you like no other. And last, it is from authentic expression and connection that we can experience the love, compassion, and connection that we all seek and deserve. That's why we're here. It's funny. Why we are here sometimes is quite the journey. Self-actualization is not for sissies. Let us pray. And so I know that there's one power, one presence that is pure light and love, that is authenticity, that is expansive, abundant, joy-filled, that is wisdom and intelligence, all that is good. And this great spirit expresses through its creation. And so I am its creation. I know that for all of us here, all of us listening on YouTube, all of us here in this community, this idea that my life is God's life, that there is one life, that life is perfect. That life is God's life. That life is my life now. And so today, I accept the blessings of Spirit in its full expression of itself as the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. As we go into our annual meeting and share where we have been and where we're going, as a loving community, as the light that people can see and feel and that attracts people to us, so that we can learn together and practice together that authenticity, that vulnerability, that connection, that intimacy, that living out loud, and self-actualization. I know in that expression of the one that we are abundant, that we are living in wholeness, that everything in our body temple functions beautifully, perfectly, that the intelligence of Spirit lives and has its being in the nucleus of every cell in every body and every sentient being, and that all we must do is ignite that actualization. And all we have to do is know it, is express it, is to become it, is to become that which is waiting, already there, waiting to be expressed. I know this center is prosperous, that the vision itself and the purpose and the mission is fully expressed, That's amazing right there. We are a sanctuary community. A sanctuary community. I accept the blessings of all we do together as a community. I am so grateful. I am especially uplifted by our music, by our production team, by our volunteers, by our practitioners, by our ecclesiastic team. We are blessed. And as I recognize that, more shall be revealed. That I give attention to it, that I focus on it, that I collapse it into form, into more and the more, that we do God's work together. I accept the blessings of this as it changes the world, as it absolutely supports the creation of a world that works for everyone. One person at a time. And I know this prayer is answered. And I release my word into the law. Hands off. I let God do God's work. I let the realtor do the realtor's work. And I let Sharon do Sharon's work. And please agree with me and affirm as we say. And so it is. Ashe. Shalom. Hallelujah. I did it. That was funny also.
This next song is strictly for fun. Okay, we're gonna have some fun. With St. Patrick's Day coming up this week on Friday, this song is dedicated to all of us who have a wee bit of Irish in us, and for all of us who have a wee bit of wishing we had some Irish in us. And I'd like to give a shout out also to my oldest granddaughter, whose birthday is on St. Patrick's Day, and she will be 13 this year. So sing with us at the end, you will recognize it.
And please dance. Hey, where did we go? They say the rain's raining down in the hollow. Man, weekend. Now the king running. Hey, hey! In the misty morning light, high jumping at you. Irish girl, you live my life. Irish girl, yeah, what happened? The teasers are going so slow, going down in the low line. The times is the radio, standing in the sunlight laughing, like a light on wall, slipping in a side bed, calling on the waterfall. Irish girl, you live my life. Irish girl. Okay, this is when you come up. We used to sing sha la 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 la, just like that. Sha la 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 la, just like that. Sha la 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 la, just like that. Sha la 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 la, just like that.
Good job, everyone.
Right, Debbie.
How am I supposed to follow all of that? So, it's offering time. And I'm stuck in authenticity. Is anybody feeling like a new connection to their authenticity right now? Yeah. Thank you, Reverend Sharon. Thank you, One Love Band. So we're offering you an opportunity to give. Why do we call this an opportunity? We know that it's all energy flow. As we give, so we receive. And we are given to, and as we give, we receive more and more. It opens the flow of who and what we are, just like authenticity opens the flow of this channel of energy that is the who and what we are. It allows us to fully express. The same is true of our financial giving. It allows our finances, believe it or not, to fully express, because it is part of our love. It is part of our flow of good. So we have multiple ways to give. We can give right here and right now as the basket goes around. We can give on the website by pushing a button. We have this incredible website, and so you go on there and you push different buttons like the pray button and the donate button. And we like to push the donate button lots of times because that's really fun. Like it's rewarding, right? It's kind of like a game that makes you rich. And also, you can also mail a personal check, and some people do that, and that is also welcome. So thank you for your incredible gifts, including our YouTube watchers. Thank you for your incredible gifts that enable us to continue on YouTube and grow our virtual community as well as our in-person community. This is an incredible thing. Join with me in saying the abundance affirmation and feel this deeply. Abiding by the law of circulation and in heartfelt gratitude, I affirm that I live in a creative and abundant universe that continuously flows in, through, and out as me, expressing as the ever-expanding, infinite good. And so it is. Prayer requests. We can push that button a lot too. That's also on the website. That's a fun one. So when you push that button, your prayer goes into our ecclesiastical team. Someone takes it, sends it out to all of us, and we all are praying on this during the week. And I know that we've had some brilliant prayer requests out of an abundance of love and compassion for people's personal families and even for people who maybe they don't know personally that have come up. I don't know if anybody's had a good experience with the prayer requests. I see some hands. And if we had more time, I would ask you to let us know. Latest news. Yeah, so announcements. I'll try to blow through these because we'll probably get, we're going to have the annual meeting. So that's the biggest thing. Yes, there were calendar changes, but I think we're through those now. Last week was our virtual Sunday because Sharon decided to get COVID. Yeah. I don't know why, but anyway, she's getting better now. We're glad that she's doing well. So this week we are obviously in person, and we're having our annual meeting and potluck. I'm here for the food. I don't know about you guys. For all the things I'll learn. That's what it is. And then we're in person again next week because of, that would be back to our regular schedule. That's the third Sunday, and we're virtual on March 26th. So that's the schedule. Annual meeting, you'll hear more about that. 2 new board members. Woohoo! And did I mention our website? Has anybody ever gone on our website? Oh my goodness, that's everybody. Our website is beautiful. It's incredible. It's up to date, and if you ever see something that's not up to date, let somebody know so that it can be updated. But it's really kept. It's fantastic. Other centers admire it. It's a great thing. YouTube channel. We are on YouTube Live. We're on YouTube Live right now when we're in person, so there are people watching. And when we are virtual, we're also on YouTube Live. We have a Zoom room where you can still hang out with us, and we can do it that way. But there are many people who are watching the YouTube Live way, and there's even a chat on YouTube Live so that they can talk to each other. I say they because I've been doing the Zoom part. Cultivating authenticity. Okay, that's our marching orders. I have the courage to be vulnerable and let my light shine. This is something you can tap into, I can tap into in any given moment, because we're going to have those moments when we don't feel like we have that courage. And we're going to use that discernment to decide, this is the moment I want to be vulnerable, or this really isn't the right time. And that's okay too. All of us have this courage. And so it is. And so now for our benediction and our closing song, and then potluck fellowship, annual meeting. What time does the annual meeting start?
12:30.
12:30. And is that virtual as well as in person?
On Zoom, yes.
Okay. Oh, it's on Zoom, but not YouTube Live.
Correct.
Okay. So there you go. And now for our benediction by our beloved practitioner of the day, Margie.
Thank you, Debbie. Okay. This place is wonderful, isn't it? So much fun and love and authenticity. And so with our grateful and gratitude hearts, we think together this wonderful service today with Reverend Sharon and her talk. I just loved it. And we take that with us all week, working on our authenticity, always working on ourselves. And so we bless each one of us. We bless those that couldn't make it today. We send our love and blessings. And we are grateful for our One Love band and everyone that's here, and the food and that's it. I'm just so thrilled. And so we take that in our hearts, and we know all is well. We get home safely, and we appreciate the sun right now, and we know that the earth is balancing out and leans towards justice, and slowly lets the rain come. So saying that together, we can affirm it by saying, and so it is. Thank you. Enjoy our band. We do.
It's an original song written with this place in mind. Some people come for the message, they come for the music, they come because they want to be connected. I come for the people, I come for the song, I come because I want to belong. Wherever you are, in the miserable search, you belong. We are one for love, joy and peace, one for freedom to live our dreams, one for love, joy and peace, one for